And that reminds me of a story that I could share with you. I mentioned earlier that I spent a lot of time in Toastmasters, actually 35 years, and I used to go to club meetings all the time. And while I was doing that, I noticed that they had every year they had the Golden Gavel Award at Toastmasters International when they had their conferences. And they invited these top speakers to come and share their thoughts with the Toastmasters at the convention. And I approached Toastmasters and said, "Hey, listen, I know you got these recordings. Send me those recordings, and I'll do some sort of comments, write-ups on these, and I'll share them with you, and you can publish them in Toastmasters magazine and so on." Well, that went for a little while, but it didn't go that very far. But one good thing about it was I heard one of the Toastmasters speaking, and he talked about motivation and the importance of motivation in life, to get people going and what can you do to motivate someone. And I learned a lot from him. Now, his name was Richards. I think Bob Richards was his name. And he talked about when he was growing up as a child, he lived in a smaller town and they had a baseball team. And the star of their baseball team was a guy named Lou Boudreau, who later, I think, played for St. Louis and second base for St. Louis, in the major leagues. But back then, he was the star player of this particular club. And Richards, as a small kid, idolized this Lou Boudreau, as did all the kids in town. And one day he went to a baseball game and he was out in the far bleachers where the kids get to, come in for 25 cents or whatever. And he's out there in the far bleachers and Boudreau hits a home run and Richards gets the ball. But, he caught the ball. So he took the ball and he went to the players' dressing room to get the ball autographed by Lou Boudreau, his idol. And so he's waiting there outside the dressing room. He tells the story. He's waiting outside the dressing room, and after a while, the players start coming out of the locker room, and sure enough, Lou Boudreau comes out, and all the kids are lined up to talk to him, and Richards is in this lineup, and Boudreau goes down the lineup, and he comes finally to Richards, and he says, "And what's your name?" And Richards says, "Well, it's Bobby." And he says, "Well, what do you want to be?" He says, "Well, I want to be a baseball player." And Richards says to him, or I'm sorry, Boudreau says to Richards, he says, "Oh, that's great, Bobby. I can see that one day you're going to be great." And Richards, in his presentation, says, "You can't imagine how much of an impact getting those few words of encouragement meant to me as a small kid." And it's easy to understand. We've all been small. We had our idols. To be encouraged by an idol is really something. That's motivational. But he went on after sharing that story, and he talked about giving speeches to high school students and other people. And he defined what is motivation. And he defined it this way. He said, at that time, America was going through some hard economic times, and things just were not working very well. So apparently, I guess it was a newspaper, went around to interview some economists, asking them, "Well, what do we need to get things going again here?" And they asked three top economists, and they all said the same thing: motivation. We need to motivate our people. And then he went on to say, and here is what motivation is. It's painting a larger picture of the life of an individual than the one that he or she has at the moment for that individual. And the moment of motivation is when that individual latches on to that bigger picture of their life to pursue it further. And I can't think of a better way of describing motivation and what's needed in people's lives than that description.